What's up, everyone? This is Tony with JRNY Crypto. So there's a lot of fear in the market right now due to Germany and Mt. Gox having billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. They will be dumping. They may not be dumping this immediately. Germany has already started selling massive amounts, but just the fear around this alone, with a decrease in retail interest in the crypto market, we got a pretty big dip. So Bitcoin went as low as into the $53,000 range last night, around midnight to 3 a.m. PST. 53,700 here. Probably went lower on some exchanges, but approaching $50,000 pretty quickly. Of course, a recovery this morning since it was a pretty big dip. If we check the 7-day chart, we did have a pretty decent pump in the market where Bitcoin pretty much got close to $64,000. That was on July 1st. Things were looking pretty good, and then of course steady decline. Germany started selling tons of Bitcoin. Fear starting to grow. Basically yesterday was when the news of this stuff came out, and basically the fear started from there. So I do have a lot of stuff I want to show you guys. A lot of different opinions here. A lot of people are saying the bull market is over, that this cycle was early, but I don't believe that. I do want to talk about that. So we do have Ethereum below $3,000 right now as well, which is interesting. We do have the Ethereum spot ETFs coming up. The thing is, compared to when the Bitcoin spot ETFs were approved and rolled out, there's a lot less retail interest in the space right now. So that will be interesting to see how that plays out. But billions of dollars being put into Ethereum will be a good thing. Should definitely help support the prices and increase. A lot of people think a altcoin season will start picking up once Ethereum goes up as well after this, but retail interest in the space has just been going down in general. So I did this post, but this is basically the trend chart for Bitcoin, and we can see the last bull market here. There was a huge increase in trend level around the time COVID picked up. This was around that Bitcoin halving as well in 2020. And then retail interest kind of dropped off for about 6 months, where it picked up again, leading into 2021, where we did get the crazy bull market. You can see the trend levels went crazy right here for about that 6-month period, and then dropping off and slowly declining into the bear market. We can see this time around too, for the Bitcoin spot ETF approvals and the Bitcoin halving, we had a couple big spikes in trend level here, and now we're seeing this trend level decline again. So if we get something similar, 6 to 8 months or whatever, that would put us starting to peak in the bull market. Retail interest really picking up around end of year, around October to December. But of course, it's not going to play out exactly the same. But I really don't think this cycle is over already, and this is all we got out of this cycle. So something else really interesting happening right now is the stock market is doing really well while crypto is on a steady decline. And this is interesting because crypto space tends to do well alongside the stock market, and likewise when the stock market is dumping, crypto tends to be dumping as well. So a couple posts here. Luke said the Bitcoin decoupling has already happened. It just wasn't the decoupling we wanted. You can see NASDAQ on a steady uptrend here, while Bitcoin on a quicker decline. And then another post here, S&P 500, massive divergence between Bitcoin and S&P 500. What is happening? You can see big incline, the S&P 500, and then Bitcoin on that steady decline. What I think is happening here is there is just a ton of hype and a ton of buying pressure for Bitcoin around the time of the spot Bitcoin ETF and the halving. And basically it was overbought. We're just having that correction now, especially with trend levels starting to go down. There's not enough big events happening. If we had massive companies buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in different countries, starting to buy and dollar cost average, and there's just a ton of big news around Bitcoin, I do think Bitcoin would be continue going up and trend levels would be rising alongside of it, but we're not really getting any major events like that. So I do think we are entering a phase like we saw with the last bull market as well. This extended period here after the first bump of increased retail interest around those major events. So around this 6-month period here that we did have in 2020, basically this is called DeFi Summer. And this is really when Uniswap launched around this time and altcoins became much more accessible. There's a lot of DeFi projects and new tech and innovation coming up in the crypto space. And a lot of these altcoins were going up crazy quickly because of this being more accessible through a decentralized exchange for the first time. So I think we're seeing something similar play out to the last bull market, where we just had peak retail interest. We just had the Bitcoin halving. It's now on a decline. But at the same time, like we had DeFi Summer back here, where Bitcoin was also on a decline in interest. Regardless, a lot of innovation was picking up. A lot of new people entered the space from that bump. And there was just a lot of big things happening. A lot of people making crazy returns on DeFi projects and different altcoins for the first time. So that really started picking up interest for altcoins. And we're seeing something similar right now. Solana meme coins are going crazy. Thousands of these being launched regularly. People seeing crazy returns, anywhere from a couple X to 50X or more on these different coins in a very short period of time as well. So we're also seeing celebrities launching meme coins and promoting this heavier than we've ever seen that previously. So that is bringing adoption to the crypto space regardless. But if Bitcoin was doing better with trend levels and big things happening in general, the entire space would just be doing better in general. But regardless, I think we are having a similar phase here where there is a lot of new people in the space. A lot of people are still getting good returns on these different meme coins and stuff launching. And if that does play out similarly, we will see the real bull market and super cycle starting to pick up end of year. So now that the Bitcoin spot ETFs are live, I do think it's going to be a lot harder to see a really crazy crash in Bitcoin. And if we do, it's going to be bought up pretty quickly. The CEO of Bitwise stated some clients were waiting for drawdowns to get better entry points into Bitcoin, two sides to every coin. So that is very true. A lot more support on Bitcoin now. And you have to think about this. A lot of these people that would invest through an ETF, they're traditional investors, and compared to their normal investments, how much Bitcoin was already up is not normal. And they were waiting and expecting a pullback in Bitcoin before they get their real entries. Maybe they bought a small amount, but they really were not comfortable going heavy on Bitcoin yet, just because of how much it was up at the time, just the anticipation of the ETFs and everything. So there probably is a ton of money and support for Bitcoin through the ETFs this time around. And I do think it's going to be a lot harder to see these crazy crashes where Bitcoin's dropping 30 to 50% and not recovering very quickly. So Bitwise is also doing their Ethereum spot ETF. They just filed the amendment. So we should expect Ethereum ETFs to be coming pretty soon, which should be great for the entire crypto space. I don't think that's going to trigger a huge altcoin season or a crazy bull market or anything, but regardless, events like this just add more support and buying pressure into the space, which is needed. So that is a good sign with that coming. Different opinions on what's happening right here. People are saying it's a bear trap. That is possible. I don't really think we're in a phase that looks like this right now, but it is possible. I do think we're going to go sideways for a while like we saw on that trend level chart. But it is possible this is just a bear trap, and this dip is going to be eaten up pretty quickly, especially with the stock market doing well. If that continues, people are going to look at crypto as a solid secondary option to the stock market. So different opinions on what's happening here. I'm going to go over a couple of these things, but the main thing here is the fear around Mt. Gox, which they're going to be distributing billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And a lot of those people will likely be selling it, but it's going to happen over time. It's not going to be billions of dollars dumped all at once and cause some crazy crash. What's really causing this crash is the fear that is coming as a result of these different things, Germany and Mt. Gox having these billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin to dump, but they're not going to dump the markets instantly like we've seen with Germany. They're dumping and they're spreading it out over a few week span already. They do have a massive amount left. They've only dumped about 20% of what they were holding. We don't know how much they're planning to dump though, if they're going to dump 100% of it, if they're getting close to being done and they're just going to hold on to the rest. But I really don't think even if they dumped all of that at once, it's really going to have a massive effect on the market. What's really having the massive effect is the masses experiencing major fear as a result of those couple of things. So another post here showing where we're at in the stock to flow model for Bitcoin, where we're currently at here in this circle, comparing that to previous cycles. Bitcoin is never really doing too great when it is in this area, but this is always right before the super cycle and the Bitcoin bull market. And we can see if things do play out again somewhat similarly, we should see Bitcoin going up towards the end of year and breaking $100,000. This model actually shows Bitcoin going upwards of $1 million this cycle if it does follow this chart. But I really don't think we're going to get anywhere close to $1 million Bitcoin anytime in the next couple of years here. But regardless, this is definitely good to look at because every previous cycle we've had has resulted in a bull market at this point after the Bitcoin halving. So that is good to look at. Good post from Benjamin Cohen as well. As measured peak to peak, Bitcoin is outperforming the last 2 cycles. So this is actually a positive stance in that we're actually doing really good in the markets at this point. Stating also that at this point in the last 2 cycles, Bitcoin was still about 40% down from its previous all-time high. To put that into perspective, that would equate to a $42,000 Bitcoin if this cycle were in the same spot as the last 2 cycles. So we can see here, if Bitcoin was down here in this cycle, it would be around $42,000, where right now it is in the mid 50,000s. So we are looking really good regardless. If you look at it from that perspective, this cycle is actually doing really good, and we still have the real bull market to come. So basically, this dip we're having right now is just the result of Mt. Gox in Germany adding selling pressure to the markets. But what's really causing the dip is the fear that comes as a result of this. Mt. Gox and Germany could sell all their Bitcoin at once in one day. And as long as no one else was dumping out of fear alongside that, the crypto market would be doing fine. But we have to keep in mind all of this isn't going to be dumped all at once anyways. Germany is selling slowly. We don't know how much they're planning to sell. They could have already stopped. Mt. Gox is distributing this to tons of different people. They're not all going to sell all at once. A lot of them may not even sell all of it, just portions of it. So you have to keep that in mind. And then just where we're at in this current cycle, things are still looking good. If things play out like previous cycles, which they have every single previous cycle, then we will be seeing a bull market towards the end of year, beginning of next year sometime, and Bitcoin breaking 100,000, possibly going to 200,000 to 300,000, depending on various things that play out. But regardless, we still should be seeing a bull market picking up towards end of year. So I still believe in that and support that. I do think, like I stated at the beginning of the video, though, that we could be going sideways for a little here. But still, there's lots of opportunity happening. All these different altcoins launching and everything. We're seeing a lot of people get a couple X to even 10X and more on these quick flips, which is just crazy. Seeing a lot of that happening on Twitter. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys found it useful, and I hope the markets aren't getting to you or anything. I do think things are going to start looking up in general, but we could be going sideways or even dipping further for a little bit. Hopefully we get the Ethereum spot ETF approval soon, and that does trigger somewhat of an altcoin season. But lots of big developments happening. A lot of projects are starting to launch the stuff they've been working on throughout the bear market. Some very interesting stuff. I actually just got into some Cardano altcoins for the first time. I'll probably make a separate video on that, and I'm getting into the Solana ecosystem as well and diving into some other projects. There's a ton of layer 2 and layer 3s launching over the next year. Also, we're going to start seeing a ton of different options for different blockchains. Lots of opportunity to come, in my opinion. But that's it for this video. If you guys want to stay up to date, get more updates from me, definitely follow me on Twitter at JRNY Crypto. There's links in the video description as well. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.